Hi, this is Sammy again. Today we're going to continue with the grade 9-10 group tutorial. We're going to continue into algebra, and then we're going to move on to the introduction of polynomials. So stay tuned. So as I said from last lesson here, we have to move the variables to one side and anything that doesn't have a variable to the other side. When we move things to the other side of the equal sign, we change the sign. So the 3y, when I moved it, it became minus instead of positive, and this -2, when I moved it to the right, -2, when I moved it to the right side, it became +2. Now I have 2y equals 6. Now I divide both sides by 2 to solve for y. Y equals 3. So that's just reviewing what we've done last time. So this is the first question. And this question right here, I said, if you learn how to cross multiply the same way I do, this is a very easy question. All you need to do here, just cross multiply the 8. That's all you need to do. And then the x will be by itself. And then in this situation, I said, if it's on the bottom and it crosses the equal sign, it goes to the top. So it becomes 8 times 3 over 4, which is 24 over 4, which is 6. Or you could just go, the 4 goes into itself once and it goes into 8 twice. I advise you to start doing that because that will help you later on in grade 11 and 12. So now 2 times 3 is 6. And the one on the bottom, we just don't write it. Here, I'm just going to do it 2 ways so everybody could follow. All right. My way that I do it in one shot. So I go 9 times 2 divided by 3 equals x. What does that mean? It means I moved the x there, and then the 3 moved where the x is, and 2 moved where the 9 is. How do I do that? I said, when you have that situation, if you want to cross the equal sign, if you're on the bottom, you go to the top. If you're on the top, you go to the bottom. That's if you want to cross the equal sign. And here the x must cross. Why the x must cross? Here the x didn't cross in here because x was on top. So I'm going to have this. But here, if I only cross the 9, what I end up with 1 over x equals 3 over 9 times 2. So that just, I don't like that. It's ugly. But what I did, I crossed the x to that side, so it goes to the top, and I crossed the 3 to this side, it went to the bottom, and I crossed the 2 to the 9, and that's what I got. Okay, so that's why we have to cross the x here to just get it on top. And I hope from last time and now you're starting to follow this a little bit more. And then I'm going to show it the other way that most students are more comfortable with. So the 3 reduces to 1, and the 9 reduces to 3. And therefore, 3 times 2 is 6 equals x. Hold on a second. Yeah. Yeah, 18 over 3.
I have a question.
Okay. Who's this?
Nigar.
Okay. So let me just turn things a bit louder because somehow I cannot hear you very well. Hold on a second.
Maybe it's
okay. Now I could hear you a little bit better. Yeah.
Okay. Does it matter if it says like 6 equals x or x equals 6? Does that matter? Like if you
6 equals x or x equals 6 is the same thing.
Oh, okay.
The proper way maybe to say x equals 6, since in English we read from left to right. So that and that is the same thing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So here's another question that looks a bit more to it than this and this, but this and this here, they are the same. They are exactly the same with just a little bit of thing that's added there. But if you look at here, hold on a second. Here we have one fraction. We call this one fraction. And here, this is one fraction. Also here, even though that is x plus 2, but it's still one fraction. And here, one fraction. When we have that, we could do the same thing. So what I'm going to do here, cross multiply the 15 right there. So I'm left with the x plus 2 here on top equals 15 times 2 over 5. Now reduce, 5 goes into itself once, it goes into 15 3 times. X plus 2 equals 6. And now to solve for x, I just move that 2 to the other side. So 6 minus 2, which gives me 4. If you want me to repeat anything, just please say repeat. Otherwise, I'm going to move on to the next slide. So now before I repeat this, I told you that I'm going to do the other one, which is this one right here, a different way. So the different way here that students are comfortable with, they do. So if you have 9 over x equals 3 over 2, what they do, they cross multiply the 2 there and they cross multiply the x there. So you get 18 equals 3x, and then divide both sides by 3, x equals 6. So just that's the other way that you could do it. And I think a lot of students are comfortable with this. You're okay to do that. If you become a pro, then you could start doing this. All right. So let me go back to this and do that again. So as I said, this one you'll use the same strategy as this. So the first thing you want to get rid of the 15 by cross multiplying it to the 2. And if the 15 crosses, then the x plus 2 stays here equals 15 times 2 over 5. Now I know some of you might be saying, why don't you cross multiply the 2 to the bottom here, this 2 right here? I say, no, you cannot do that, because here it's x plus 2. You cannot take that plus 2 because this is attached to this. It's x plus 2. You cannot do it. If it was 2x over 15, okay, equals 2 over 5. Let me just do that in blue, just so that you know when you can and when you can't. If this was 2x instead, if it was 2x over 15 equals 2 over 5, then you're allowed to cross the 15 there and cross the 2 right there and leave the x by itself. Times 2 over 2 times 5 in the bottom. And then the 2's cancel and the 5 becomes 1 and the 15 becomes 3. So x would equal 3 here. Okay, so if the 2 was multiplied into the x, you could cross multiply it at the same time. But here the 2 is added to the x, so you cannot cross multiply the 2. You only could cross multiply the 15. And now here, I'm just going to reduce the 5 goes into itself, once goes into 15, 3 times. Now I have x plus 2 equals 3 times 2 is 6 over 1, and I don't have to write the 1 on the bottom. So x equals 6 minus 2, which equals 4. Does that make sense now, Nigar, or send me yes if it does? Okay, good. So I'm going to move on to the next slide since nobody else has a question. Good. Good. Now we have this, okay. So I'm going to show you how I do it myself, and then I'll show you the other way that a lot of students are more comfortable with. Please, if I forget to do the second way, just remind me that I was going to do this a second way. So for me, I'm going to take this 2x plus 1 right here, cross multiply it to where the 7 is, and the 7 crosses to where this is. And then the 2 is going to cross right there. So I end up with 2x plus 1 crosses where the 7 is, which is on top, equals 14 times 2, because the 2 crosses there. And then the 7, as I said, is going to cross to the bottom right there. So 2x plus 1, that goes into itself once, goes into that twice. 2x plus 1 equals 4. 2 times 2 is 4. 2x equals 3, because when you move the 1 to the other side, it changes to minus 1, so that gives you 3. And then you divide both sides by 2, and that will give you x equals 3 over 2. Yeah, I will. Just here though, Muhammad, it's in this question, eh? Yeah. So again, if you learn how to cross multiply the same way I do, the 2x plus 1 is going to go to where the 7 is. The 7 is going to come where the 2x plus 1 is. That's because you remember You could cross as long as if you're on the bottom, you go to the top, and if you're on the bottom at the top, you go to the bottom. So the 7 was on top, it's going to cross the equal sign, goes to the bottom under the 14. The 2x plus 1 has to cross as a whole, like this here, because it's adding and all of that. This is one thing. It has to cross, all of it has to cross at the same time. So the 2x plus 1 will go where the 7 is, the 7 come where the 2x plus 1 is, and the 2 will cross where the 14 is, okay? And Muhammad, I will do it the other way, all right? So let's just focus on this for now. So the 2x went where the 7 is, and simultaneously, the 2 went to where the 14 is and cross multiply, so you have to multiply it in there, and then the 7 went where the 2x plus 1 is, and that's 7. Okay. Now, 2x plus 1 gives you, that's 28 divided by 7 is 4, or just 7 goes into itself, 1 goes into 14 twice, 2 times 2 is 4. Now, 2x equals 4 minus 1. And then 2x equals 3. Divide both sides by 2, x equals 3/2. And that's the answer. Is that okay, Muhammad, or?
Yes.
Okay, guys, okay. So the other way of doing this, when you have 7 over 2, and that's what most students are comfortable with, you know, and by all means, I don't have anything against that. Cross multiply the 2x plus 1 there, cross multiply the 2 right there. So when you cross multiply, you write this as 7, 2x plus 1 like this, equals 2 times 14 is 28. Now you get 14x plus 7 equals 28. Sorry, I said 28 here and I wrote 24. So I just distributed that into here and to there, equals 28. 14x equals 28 minus 7, which gives me 14x equals 28 minus 7 is 21. Divide both sides by 14. That cancels. X equals, now when you divide by 14, 7 goes into 14 twice and goes into 21 3 times. So x equals 3/2. So this is just a different way of getting to the answer. If you prefer this way, by all means. As I said in math, always, if you have your book and pen handy, do it your way if you know what you're doing, and just get to the same answer. And if you get to the same answer by any way, you're fine. Like if this is method 1 right here, and this is method 2, which one you get more comfortable with? Just write down if it's 1 or 2. Oh, wow, Muhammad, you caught up with that. Good, okay. I'm waiting, like we have about 8 people here, so both for me, good. Once you start doing this, then you'll be like on top of things, man. So I'm just gonna erase method 2 because it's on the way. And as I said to you from the beginning, like I'm trying to give you tools that will help you a long way, you know, when you get, because in grade 11 and 12, you'll be doing higher level questions, but it's this that students get stuck with. It's not the higher level, it's this stuff that they start making mistakes all over the place and they don't know what they're doing when it's things like this, and they don't know how to move things around and stuff and start making mistakes. So that's why this will be great tools for you guys in the future to be able to maneuver with the algebra really fast and all of that. Okay, so now here, this was part of your homework, but I want to go over it again. What's the first thing I do? So just write a comment down. What's the first thing I should do for this question? All right. Sorry, I didn't get that video ready. I've been so busy. I should have sent you that video so you could watch it again. I'm not gonna do bad math yet. I'm gonna do, I think Marianne said it right here, turn the fraction into whole numbers. That's the first thing you do. Get rid of fractions. Who wants to like start the distributive property with fractions? You know, that's 5/4, 3/4, and that's 3x/8 minus 12x/8, which gives me 3/2 and all that. I don't think you want to go there. I think the best way is to change this into whole numbers instead of fractions. Okay. By the way, so if you have any siblings that are in grade 5, 6, and 7, I'm doing a whole course for 2 months on fractions. Fractions is a problem for a lot of kids, and those kids, when they do the 2 months and with me in this course, they'll come out and they start looking at fractions as the same as whole numbers, you know. So just if you have siblings or any people who have kids in grade 5, 6, 7, and even grade 8, if they're struggling with fractions, this course would be definitely worth taking. What's the common denominator that I want to multiply everything by? So I'm asking everybody. So just write the common denominator that I should multiply everything by. Beautiful. Yeah. So it's 8, because between the 4 and the 8, 8 is the lowest common denominator. So I'm going to multiply everything by 8. You could put the 8 on this left side, or you could write multiply by 8 on the right hand side. So let me go slow with this, guys. Okay, so you know what needs to be done, and now focus on every word I'm going to say. If I ask on the left hand side, how many terms do I have on the left hand side here? Just ask me, how many terms do I have on the left hand side of the equal sign? I'm talking about the red stuff right here. So can anybody tell me how many terms I have? Throw in something, don't be scared to answer. On the left hand side, so 3, 4, okay. Muhammad, make up your, no, 2 different people, Yusuf and Muhammad, okay, yeah. I need to hear from everybody, so just throw it at me, yeah. Because that's key to answering this question, okay, yeah. Okay, so just on the left hand side of the equal sign, okay. I need to hear from everybody, like just in the chat, write something. Okay. Nigar, just write something. Phoebe, you gotta write something. How many terms I have on the left hand side of the equal sign? This is the equal sign right here on the left side. How many terms do I have? Good. Okay. On the left hand side here, you have 2 terms. Okay. 2 terms on the left hand side. This here, the 3 here is 1 term. But you see this here, when it's written like this, we call this 1 term. If you distribute the quarter n, then it will be 3 terms. But before the quarter is distributed n, it's only 2 terms. Why? How do we divide terms? Okay, like how do I know it has 2 terms here? You see this plus sign right here? This is the one that's dividing this. This plus in this inside right now, because we didn't do the bed mass yet. This here is 1 term. This is here another term. Okay. So when I multiply the 8 in here, I have to multiply it only in the 2 terms. So it will be 8 times 3, which is 24. And 8 times 1/4, fast, everybody like click. What's 8 times 1/4? Don't think, don't write it down. What's 8 times 1/4? Let's go. All right. So you know why I'm thanks, Jumana. That's why I'm gonna do this fractions course, because if kids fix their fractions issue at earlier years, maximum grade 7, then this stuff will be a lot easier for them when they start getting to this stage. So 8 times 1/4 just means 8 divided by 4. That's what it means. 8 times 1/4 just 8 divided by 4, which is 2. So here we said 8 times 3 is 24. So we multiplied it in the first term. When you multiply the 8 into the second term, you only multiply it to the 1/4. So 8 times 1/4 gives you 2. And now you have the brackets like this, 2, 5x plus 3 equals 8 times 3/8. Yeah. So you know what? Good job. Anybody who got it right, good job. 8 times 3/8, as I said, when you multiply fractions, a whole number times a fraction, always see if the whole number reduces with the bottom of the fraction, and they are the same here, so they cancel each other out. And we get a 3. If you're happier with 24/8, which still will give me 3 anyways, you're fine to do that. But it is 3. So always, that's fractions, you know, a whole number times a fraction, always see if it reduces with the bottom. And the reason we multiply by 8, because we don't want to have any more fractions. So here we had 2 terms, here we only have 1 term. And when you multiply in the 8, we only multiply it into the 3/8, and it gives me 3. Now the question becomes a lot easier to do than having fractions and doing BEDMAS and then doing common denominator for everything. You don't need to worry about that anymore. So now this becomes 24 plus the distributive property, 2 times 5x is 10x plus 6. Distributive property here will give me 3x minus 12. Some people, they like to collect like terms here right away. So 24 plus 6 is 30. So they write 30 plus 10x equals 3x minus 12. Now 10x minus 3x equals negative 12 minus 30. That's the fast algebra. 7x equals negative 42. Divide both sides by 7 by 7. And that gives me x equals negative 6. Now, if you have any questions on this, ask me.
I got it now. Thank you.
Sorry, say that one more time.
I got it now. Thanks.
Oh, you got it? Yeah.
Mhm.
Is that Jumana?
No, that's Nigar.
Negar,
Nigar.
Jumana, how about you? No, it's not, I think. I think it doesn't make me happy. So tell me where exactly you want me to go over again. And I'll slow down at that point and make that part clear.
For a second, I was just confused on like, where'd you get the 24 or where'd you get the 30 from? And then from the last part.
Where did I get the 30 from?
Yeah, but then but then I realized you got it from like 24 and like
plus 24 plus 6. Yeah. So you're collecting like terms. Of course, the 10x, you cannot add it with the 24. So you're good after that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. This from here, I'm like from this step here, the next ones are going to be about what we're doing from here on. But this is what a lot of students struggle with. So make sure you get this. Get rid of fractions, get rid of fractions, get rid of fractions always. All right. So now I'm going to go to the last one here. And let me just, you have negative 2x minus 3 plus 5x. The best way to do them here, even though you could move everything to one side, the x's and the numbers to the other side, but sometimes it's better to collect like terms. And here, these two here are like terms. So negative 2x plus 5x is 3x. And you still have the minus 3. Here, these here are like terms right here. So we still have the negative x, but 6 minus 9 gives me minus 3. Now I move the x's to one side, so 3x plus x. And then the negative 3 stays here, that one, and that -3 when it moves becomes +3. So 4x, 3x plus x, there's a 1 here, so that's 4x equals 0. Divide both sides by 4. By 4, it gives you x equals 0. Now let me just go back to this for a second, guys. So when you get your answer right here, just know that you could take it back and sub it into the x's, wherever there's an x here, and sub it into the x here, and make sure it works, you know, except here when it's gonna still end up giving you fractions on, but you could always go and double check. Okay, maybe I'll do the double check in here. I'm not gonna worry about this, but here we get x equals 0. So let's say after we got x equals 0, let's go back and make every x 0 here, 0 there, and the x 0 here. So now if you make the x 0, -2, that's -2x means -2 times x. So it becomes -2 times 0, that will be 0. And 5 times 0, that will be 0. So on the left side, you'll only have -3 left. And if since this is 0, then here you end up with 6 minus 9, and 6 minus 9 gives you -3. Now the left side equal the right-hand side, then check, it's correct. Can I move on to the next slide, or you want me to go over this one more time? Okay, I will. Okay, great. So it's going to be algebra all over the place here. So today, just algebra and then polynomials towards the end. And then I'm going to give you a few questions to do yourselves in the last 20 minutes or so, and then I'm going to see how everybody does on the question. So this algebra here, the first thing we have to do is distribute the 4 here and there. So I'm going to end up with 4w minus 20. So this distributive property, when you distribute, you multiply into the w and you multiply into the 5. And I still have that minus w right there, equals -9. And you know what? Why we could do things fast enough. Now here, all I need to do is just collect this with this. So I still have the -w right here, and -9 plus 7 will give me -2. So I could do that at the same time. Now on the left-hand side, I have two like terms, which is this and this. So 4w minus a w gives me 3w minus 20 equals -w minus 2. Now, when you're collecting terms here and there, some people, what they do, they go 4w minus this w. No, this w has this minus on top of it. So you skip, you go 4w minus w. Make sure you don't get into that habit where you choose this sign instead of that sign. So if this was a plus, you think this is 4w plus w. No, it's 4w, skip, minus w. Now, 3w plus w equals -2 plus 20. That's 4w equals 18. Divide both sides by 4 by 4. W equals, that cancels. 2 goes into 4 twice, goes into 18 9 times. So the answer is 9/2. And I will move on to the next one. The distributive property. So I'm going to go here and there. And this -5 has to go here and there. I'm not going to collect like terms at all, because here you can't, even if you want to do it, you cannot do it. You have to do the distributive property first, and then you could collect like terms. 5 times 6x is 30x. Minus 5 times 3 is -15. And you still have that -7 right there. And here we have 17 plus 3x, leave that alone. And now you have this -5, you have to distribute it into the 2x plus 1. Here's a common mistake that everybody makes, even in grade 12. When they distribute the -5, they make this -10x. but they leave this as +5. No, it's -5 times +1, so it becomes -5. So whenever you're distributing a negative number, which is the -5 inside the brackets, make sure it's a sign changer. So it's gonna change that sign as well. Okay, and here, what you do, you collect like terms. So the numbers here and there, that's the only thing you have right there. So you have 30x minus 22 equals, here you have the x's and also you have the numbers. So 3x minus 10x will be -7x, and 17 minus 5 is +12. 30x plus 7x equals 12 plus 22. That's 37x equals 34. Divide both sides by 37 by 37. Cancel, x equals 34 over 37. Okay, so 15, -7, 17, 3x, -10x minus 5, 7 minus 5, 12, 17 minus 5, 12, that's -7x, 30x, -22, 30x plus 7x, and 12 plus 22, that's 34, 37. Okay, yeah, we're good. So how's everybody so far? Is this stuff make sense? Please let me know if you want me to go over anything from here. Good. Great, great. Yeah. So I guess I'm going to go to polynomials and just a little bit of introduction to polynomials. So we have -5x plus in brackets +8x. What's the first thing I need to do? And that is with respect to the first lesson we had in this course. What's the first thing I should do? Please answer if you know what I'm supposed to do first. And that's what I encourage my students to always do. Okay, I'll just do it then. So here, I'll rewrite this as -5x. I don't like two signs besides one another, so plus and a plus, they just become +8x. These are like terms, so it's like -5 oranges plus 8 oranges, you get 3x. So when you're collecting like, these are like terms because they are both x's. And none, you know, if this was x squared and this was x, then you cannot do it. But these are like terms, so that's how we do it. So -5x plus 8x gives me 3x. Again, this, I could do these two right away, or just rewrite this as -5x squared plus 8x squared. Negative and negative here, but when the two signs are the same, they give me plus 8x squared. Sorry, plus 2x squared. I don't know where I get the 8 from. And now, -5 plus 8 is 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. So that's 5x squared. That's the answer. Sorry, I jumped to number 3 before 2. Here you rewrite this as 3y squared plus and minus, change them into minus 5y squared. 3y squared, 3 minus 5 is just -2y squared. The last one right here. So here we're talking about collecting like terms, and I guess we got, we did that in the last bit of the algebra course. But in here, you just collect the like terms. So these are like terms right here. And these are different terms right there. So you go 5x minus 2x is 3x. 3x minus, you don't go 3x plus 6x, no, 5x minus 2x is 3x, and 3x minus 6x is negative 3x. And then the 7 minus 10 will give me negative 3. And that's the answer for that. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little bit more with the polynomials. And then we'll leave the last bit for questions. Okay, you want me to go back to the last slide? So tell me what question you got. Yeah, 4. So I just could, when anything that has an X in it, I underlined it the same. We're collecting like terms. Some teachers, they tell you to bring all of them together. You don't need to do that. If you underline them with the same thing, then these, you have to deal with these. And then the numbers, I gave a wiggly line underneath them. So I know these are like terms. Now you just go 5 minus 2 is 3. 3 minus 6 is negative 3. So that's negative 3x. Of course, you still have to include the x. But this one, just positive 7 minus 10, that gives you negative 3. And that's how I got that. Does that make sense? Yeah. Or you were just trying to write it down. That's fine. Yeah. So let me just move on a little bit. So if my question is, (7x minus 2 minus 5x plus 3, like that, yeah. And then question 2 will be 2 times 5y squared minus 3y plus 6y minus 2y squared. So here, if I'm doing this, the first one, I have to rewrite this. And in writing this, you have to get rid of the brackets. So these brackets here mean nothing. So I'm just going to write this as 7x minus 2. But this bracket, the negative before them, it's a sign changer. It's like multiplying, distributing negative 1 into here and into there. So that would become negative 5x minus 3, because that negative will change the sign in there. Now, these are like terms right here. And these are like terms right there. 7x minus 5x will give me 2x. And negative 2 minus 3 will give me negative 5. We'll go to number 2. Here we have to distribute this into here and into there, and distribute the 3 into here and into there. That's what we need to do first. So we get 10y squared minus 6y plus 3 times 6 is 18y. 3 times negative 2y squared becomes negative 6y squared. Now, like terms is this and this, and these are like terms. Yeah. This is a y, but it doesn't have a square, so it cannot be the same term as this, but it's the same term as this. Now I go 10 minus 6, that gives me 4y squared. And then the negative 6y plus 4 plus the negative 6y plus 18y will give me plus 12y. So far, so good here. Which question you got? If you're having trouble, is it number 1 or number 2? And Phoebe, I need to hear from you. You haven't written if these things are okay so far. Yeah. So number one, Jumana, we just wrote the 7x minus 2 the same, but this negative here changes the signs in here. Well, it's like having -1 in front of here, and you, I'll go over to, yes. So you have a -1 right here, and you go in multiplying that into here, into there, distributive property. So -1 times 5x gives you -5x. -1 times +3, it gives me -3. And now we collect like terms, 7x and the -5x, 7x minus 5x gives me 2x, and -2 minus 3 gives me -5. For number 2, you're distributing the 2 in here and into there. So 2 times 5y squared is just 10y squared. 2 times -3y, it just becomes -6y. And then we have the +3, the 3 has to distribute in here and into there. So 3 times 6 is 18y. And 3 times -2y squared is -6y squared. Now, this here and this are like terms. Why they are like terms? Because both of them have a y squared. And these two here, they're like terms because they both have y. So this and this are like terms. So here you go, 10y squared minus 6y squared will give you 4y squared. And then here, the -6y plus 18y gives you +12y. And that's basically integers. You're just adding the integers in here. -6, you know, you're at the left 6, and then you're going 18 to the right. That will take you to 12. Does that make sense, Phoebe? And Jumana, let me know if that's clear. How about you, Phoebe? Just write yes or no. Okay. So at this stage, guys, I'm going to give you questions, okay? Because I think I'm going to always save the last half hour for you to practice, because that was the goal for me. I just get carried on. I want to cover as much ground. But we have a lot of time to cover a lot of ground. So we almost finished with most of the stuff in grade 9 anyways. And then we're going to move on to grade 10 very, very soon. So. So I'll go over this again, okay? And to get rid of the fractions, you look for the lowest common denominator, okay? How do you find the lowest common denominator? Is by looking at the biggest number, the 5 here, and see if the 3 and the 2 goes into 5. No, it doesn't. You go to the next multiple, which is 10. 2 goes into 10, but 3 doesn't. The next one is 15. 3 goes, but 2 doesn't. 20. 2 goes, but 3 doesn't. 25, none of these go into 25. The next multiple is 30. So 3 and 2 go into 30. So that's why you have to multiply everything here by 30, okay? So when you multiply a whole number to a fraction, if you don't want to do the reducing very fast right away, and that's an issue with fractions that a lot of students have, because everybody should be doing 30 times 4/5 in their head. But because of middle school issues, with teachers not teaching fractions the proper ways, lots of students struggle with this 30 times 4/5. So what I say to you, if you want to go slow, just multiply the whole number only to the top of the fraction. So you're going to get 120/5 equals 30/3x equals 30/2x. Now you simplify. 120 divided by 5 gives you 24. You could use a calculator to find out. That's the case, okay? 30 divided by, sorry, minus 30 divided by 3 is 10x equals 30 divided by 2 is 15x. Now 24 equals 15x plus 10x, because I'm moving the -10x to that side, and you could do that as well. Yeah. So now we get 24 equals 25x. And if that's the case, if you have 24 equals 25x, you just divide both sides by 25 by 25, because of course you want to get rid of the 25 in front of the x, and therefore x equals 24/5. All right. And this here, you want to multiply everything by the lowest common denominator, which is between the 5 and the 10, it's 10. Yeah. So 10 times -2 is -20. And 10 times 1/5, if you're okay to write 10 over 5, you just multiply the whole number to the top of the fraction if you want to go slow. And leave the -4x plus 6 alone equals 10 times 1/10. You just get 10 over 10. And you leave the 3 plus 2x alone for now. Okay, now -20 plus 10 divided by 5 is 2 times -4x plus 6 equals, that's 10 divided by 10 is 1. So I'm just, you don't even have to write the 1. You could just write this as as 3 plus 2x. Because if it's 1, then you distribute it, it's not going to change anything. -20 equals -8x plus 12 equals 3 plus 2x. That's plus, sorry, that's a plus right there. -20 plus, no, hold on a second. Give me 1 second here. Let me just, I'm going a bit too fast because of the time remaining. So we have the -20 here. And 2 times -4 just gives me -8x. And then that gives me 12. All right. Now we collect like terms here. So the -20 plus 12 is -8 minus 8x equals 3 plus 2x. Now I'm just going to take this way. I'm going to bring the -8x this way, and I'm going to bring the 3 that way. So -8 minus 3 equals 2x plus 8x. -11 equals 10x. Divide both sides by 10 by 10. X equals -11 over 10. Now 5 minutes remaining. Okay, I want you to finish this on your own. So you distribute that into here, into there, distribute the 8 into there, and then start collecting like terms on both sides and move forward. Do it really fast in the last 5 minutes. Give me what your answer is, and then we'll call it a day today. Okay, so now it's 32 minutes. I'm just gonna go over it, okay? And I'm gonna go over it nice and slow. So the first thing, we distribute the -2 into here. We're gonna get -10x. -2 times -1, that's plus 2. And I still have the -4 there. Here we have the 22 minus 7x. And we have to distribute the positive 8 into here. So we're going to get plus 24x minus 8. Now on this side, we got to collect like terms. So the like terms here, and then 2 and the -4. So that gives me -10x. 2 minus 4 is just -2. Equals, here the like terms is this and this. And then it's this and that. So 22 minus 8 is, what's that? That's 14. Yeah, 14. -7 plus 24 is 17x. Yeah. All right. So now I could bring the -10x to that side to make sure the axis is positive, but we also could just keep it negative here. Move the 17x to the side, minus 17x equals, keep the 14 on the right hand side, move the -2 to this side, plus 2. And therefore, -27x equals 16. And when you get to this stage, you just divide both sides by -27 by -27. And therefore, x equals -16 over 27. Don't keep the negative on the bottom, as I told you from last time. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I'll tell you something, okay? You see those 2 pages that I've sent you of homework last time? You have to do them, take a picture, send me the picture, or just if do them, check your answer in the back because I sent you the answer key. If it's right, don't worry about it. If it's not right, when I come next week, that's the first thing you ask me. Because this one here is not tough, but take your time collecting like terms and don't do too many things at the same time. Yeah, I emailed them to everybody, yes. So just make sure that you understand this stuff. You're gonna stop sharing all of this, so welcome. My pleasure, Jumana. So I'll forward you that homework, Jumana, if I didn't get you on the last email. Thanks, guys.